Welcome everyone to the another episode. Today we have Suzan Peltekian all the way from Dubai. She's originally from Canada, but she's right now in Dubai. So I really appreciate her time. So who is Suzanne then? So a brief explanation about her as is manifestation and mindset coach, peak performance coach, and global speaker. So she retired from real estate in 2020 to pursue her childhood dream and divine purpose with a mission to raise consciousness of all of our precious billions on one human soul at a time. So Ken and Michael McLaren and the unparalleled leadership of RE Max Hallmark Realty Group, the number one RE Max Reality Worldwide, filled up with all of her coaching spots during the COVID. So she believes in the biggest real estate and everyone owns in the one between their 2 years that she can guide anyone to co-create their life by design by using their marvelous mind more effectively. So, in this episode, we're going to learn more about Susan's journey, how she built her business, how she created the life by design she's living right now, like traveling around the world and living the dream of her life, and everything in between, the ups and downs, and the inspiration. So, without further ado, let's welcome Susan to the show. Susan, welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
I know it's such a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm fantastic. Yourself?
I'm doing absolutely great, and weather's start to get better. Feel like a bit Dubai, but not Dubai. Like it's cold and freezing, but sun is out, and yeah, it's getting much better. And excited to learn more about yourself, your journey, your business, and tell us like how you created your life by design, the business you have, and the life.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to supercharge our awesome audience today. This has been the only thing I've ever wanted to do since childhood, but I do now. I know I don't work a day in my life. I say that happily and proudly because I'm literally living and breathing my divine purpose. This is God's gift to me. I've wanted to do it since I was a child. It's not only my divine purpose and childhood dream, but I never believed in myself like many. And finally, thanks to the inner work, I finally realized that I also am God's child, which is what I teach everyone, and that everyone is number one of one. And I retired, as you mentioned in my bio there, from real estate right before COVID hit. It was January of 2020. We didn't know in Canada. It was in March that we found out.
Mm,
And that number one Remax worldwide, it happens to be a Canadian brand, had filled up all of my coaching spots with one decision that I made. So, whoever's listening in, any precious soul today, whether you're struggling, whether you're thriving, everyone is literally one decision away, one thought away from a completely different life, from complete magic and miracles, because life by design is your divine birthright.
yeah. And it's interesting, the way life changes, isn't it? Like sometimes we think this is the career path, we're gonna be there for forever, and things changes, industry changes, circumstance changes, and all of a sudden, like we have to make the decision. So, what was your for you, make the change to like not being a real estate world to right now in the coaching and consulting space that you was in? Is that because of the market change? Because of the COVID? Like how was the transformation you had?
Thank you. No, it was just finally believing in myself and making the decision. And of course, I didn't believe in myself like I do now. Now it's 5+ years. I had been doing it for 3 years prior, but for free, the coaching while I was still a realtor. But
Mm,
that January 2020, right before COVID, I made the decision because I got the awareness. I know that I was cheating on myself. Like I've known since childhood, this is all I've wanted to do. And I just, of course, I didn't know what consulting or coaching was. I wanted to be a speaker, and I am a speaker and a coach, thankfully. And it's only thank God with His grace that I am here today because I finally realized that this is something that I'd be cheating myself if I didn't do, not just cheating the world of what I can give, but also cheating myself,
yeah.
which is now I want to be part of what I teach so that people can actually create their lives by design instead of thinking that it is whatever it is. It's not whatever it is. You are the co-author of your life and you get to co-create, and God has given us that power and we need to think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously like a moving from like a real estate industry to starting something completely new, coaching, consulting space. And
Yes.
just after, I think like within like a COVID, like is it 2020, like you probably started that time and it's uncertain moment. Like how's your transition happen? Like was it hard? Was it quite easy? Like did you had a plan through before that?
No plans. I just made a decision. You make a decision, God will literally hold you in the palm of his hands. That's my
Hmm.
belief anyway. And I made a decision. I had uh, not one signed up client money wise. I had people I was coaching for free. And that's when that number one Remax Worldwide filled up all of my coaching spots. I had like the biggest, greatest challenge in that all my spots were full. That meant that I had to stop and think, which is what I teach now, to now create new programs because all my spots were full. And of course, there were moments of doubt. I am human, I'm in the flesh, we live in the 3D. I believe we're all limitless souls and we're capable beyond words and measure. We're limitless at the same time living in the 3D. I dealt with a lot of the uncertainties of just COVID, right?
Yeah.
But that we know that the only certain thing in life is uncertainty. Change is the only constant, basically. So I practice the work that I teach, which is the law of attraction and manifestation, and here we are serving and super being on your amazing podcast and supercharging our one world.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Like obviously I did the kind of same kind of jump, to be honest, with my businesses. Uh, Before I starting this current business I was in the restaurant industry and it wasn't fulfilling me, and I had to make the decision. But obviously, when you have physical location and everything like that, you just cannot just leave there because there is so many things involved. You have to sold the place. There is a lease. There you own lots of obligation there. There is employees. So I had to make the transition. It took like over 2 years to before I able to get to sell everything, and there was like a lot of challenges. But without like knowing like how the thing is doing really great, the business I had that time, it's just like making a transition. But I had to do that. It's just like your soul calling you, like, hey, and also is that like you need to live your life your own terms and the own way you like to do. And I wanted to exactly like your kind of
I
lifestyle,
love it.
like travel around the world. I wanted to homeschool my children as well, but during that time I didn't have a child, and I was planning for it, and because right now I have two of them.
Oh,
But
congrats.
yeah, thank
Awesome.
you. But life had like a different problem. Sometime like wherever you desire is always you cannot get that. I couldn't travel last 5 6 years because I have health issues. Also, my son got disability, and with him like I cannot travel around. So that is like a change that everything. But we had plans, we had everything like we're gonna create a lifestyle of like travel around the world, work remotely, have a team remotely, and I built a business. And business side is everything's going perfect. But when it's come down to our health, it just changed everything completely. So obviously, with your case and you're doing what you love doing every single day and enjoying the business and community you've been building. So those who's listening to this podcast, like how someone can create a life they love, because everyone's journey, everyone's life is different. Some got like lots of obligation. Probably they have a big
Yeah,
mortgage, the big house, big business,
yeah,
or could be the job they're in, or they have piles of debts. I hear Dave
yes,
Ramsey's show in the US and see people student debts is 200,000, half a
yeah.
million dollars. So with that case, like how people can take that jump and just live the life how they want, like how would you guide them through?
Sure, what a great question, and thank you for asking. And a big congrats. I heard you say that about the restaurant with your brother and your awesome podcast as I was listening to you getting ready to show up here. And I will talk to you about your son after if it works. I don't want to overstep any boundaries because it's all healed. It can all be healed if you believe in it. But we'll talk after that if you'd like. So I don't teach religion at all, right? And whatever I teach, I'm most familiar. I don't follow religion. I know you mentioned your name is Muslim. It may be in Islam at all. I'm not as familiar, and I had done uh, um, a world religion class, but it's been a while since I was in high school. I know. Okay. And this is all in, and I'm pretty sure it's in the Quran, but you can correct me, so I don't want to quote it. It's in the Bible, and I don't teach theology. I don't teach the Bible. It says, without a vision, the people perish. Step
Yeah.
number one, literally, in the law of attraction, to get crystal clear on what you want. So you literally want to take pen to paper the minute your brilliant podcast goes live. Um, anyone listening in, if you put it off in the law of attraction, waiting creates more waiting. You're not
Mm.
to wait. You're lax about it. That's what the results will be as well. So get crystal clear, not looking at the circumstance. And don't look at disease. Don't look at debt. Don't look. And this is the easiest thing for me to sit here. I know this is what I coach my precious people on every single day. This is what I coach myself every single day on. It's actually there. I have a sticky note that says "Stay in your lane." For me, to when you're driving on the highway, on the freeway, you don't veer off. When you veer off, you're going to hit another car. We don't want that. So what we
Yeah.
want to do is focus only on what we want, not looking at the circumstance, because God will create what you want when you hold the vision. That is promised to us as we create it. But if we say, well, no, that's what's going on, that if we repeat it, the basis of the law of attraction is that we're magnets, like attracts like. So if we keep saying debt, 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 we're going to
Mm.
get debt, debt, debt. Disease, disease, disease. It's going to be that versus, no, I'm healed, and only see that. That's step number one. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with Bob Proctor. He's one of the biggest prosperity teachers. He passed away 3 years
Yeah.
ago. Yes, he was in the movie The Secret. He was one of my mentors. And when I learned this from him, I know my entire life changed. I can't wait to share this to the entire world, because since childhood, I shared with you, I've wanted to do this. But because of my bubbly personality and extreme God given enthusiasm, I wanted to get on stages and rah people. And it is a big part of what I do. I do motivate, but Zig Ziglar says, and he's also passed away, you may be familiar with him, that it's like bathing motivation. You got to
Mm.
keep bathing, right? When I learned these universal truths from Bob, that who you are is not like 99% of you is invisible of us. We're like literally God's children. And if we understood that, we pinch ourselves every day. We're co-creators with that powerful. God gave us that dominion to actually stop and think, which most aren't, right? When we know that, that's what he says. He says, step number one is to know what we want, but there's a big caveat. That's step number two. I know step number two is identity. You've heard it on social media as identity, as self-image, or as self-concept, right?
Yeah.
We only get as far as what our self-image is. So we must change that inner self-concept of who we think. And a lot of us have our self-concept given to us based on our traumas, by our family, by our school. I love what you're doing there with the homeschooling. I never understood that before. And now the more aware I become, no judgment for whoever sends their kids, of course, to school. Not everyone has the awareness you have, or right. I realize that how much, because that's part of the programming. So if you look at your kids, since you're a dad, you'll know this, when they're up to 3, 4, every day is like they're just magical beyond. They're always magical. We're right.
Yeah.
We're born in the perfect vibration. And they're like, 1 minute they're doctors, the next minute they're astronauts. They're not wondering about the how. And then
Right.
all of a sudden the programming starts. We go to school, we have to line up to get into class, we have to raise our hands to go to the loo, on and on. I can go on and on about that, right? And so that's it. We just are becoming like sheep, and that's the programming that they've created. Meanwhile, we're limitless souls, we're not sheep.
Mm.
So from there, you can just create that new identity. And to make it simple for whoever's listening in, if I may give a couple of
Sure.
it's a short paragraph of I am statements. In English, they say, whatever you say after I am, you become. Of course, that's the case in any language,
Right.
because that's the power that we have to co-create with the creator, with God. And so it's in the present tense, because the subconscious mind only understands the present tense. 95 to 98% of our results is coming from the subconscious, and we have a lot of programming in there.
Mm.
They say generationally. I know I don't teach that. I haven't done that research. I'm sure it's I believe in it, but that's not as far as I go. I go from the time of conception. How many of us heard our parents have chats about lack of money? How many
Yeah.
of us saw our parents really loving each other up versus no? Most of us saw models of they couldn't stand each other, they were worried about money, and then this has been programmed into us, and now that's our identity versus no, I am God's child. You are me, I am you. That means you are God's child. And the minute I've diminished you for anything that I deem you to be different, that's the ego. Now I've diminished Suzan.
Right.
That's how much we're one. We're all right. images of the creator. So if we can get to step number one, first and foremost, not if, I invite everyone, I urge you, please do it. This will completely transform your life. Step two, create the self-image. Step three, make a decision that you're going to follow through, because it's through repetition. How do babies learn how to walk?
Yeah.
Repetition. How do we learn how to drive a car? Right now, we don't even think about it. We can drive to the office, and you may not need to drive because you're online, and good for you, right? But whoever does, they don't think about it. We want to put great programming in our subconscious like that. There, we don't have to think about it. We get up and go to the gym. We don't have to think about it. We get up and we remember who we are, instead of being constantly reminded that we are God's children. And then we behave as such, and that's what we're going to attract to us. People like yourself, places, like circumstances that are in vibrational harmony with the higher vibrations we're on, the higher frequency, versus the circumstance, whether it be debt or anything that's not working. Does that resonate? I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what's happened after that? Like when you make the first step, like what's the second step you follow through?
So thank you. So the vision is the first step. The second step is the self-image. The third step is make a decision, because when you make a decision, you're cutting off all other options.
Right.
You make the decision. And then in the fourth one, take from the vision. The vision will be bigger. Like, let's say someone has $250,000 or 300,000 or $1 million in debt. They're not, the fourth step is take a goal from the vision to have it like that it's going to be paid off. But what can you do today about that? The goal isn't to pay the million today. We can,
Yeah.
but most people don't believe it, so it can't happen. We can't. Manifestation doesn't take time, it takes alignment. So, and step five, the most important after we've done all four, is take action. And it's not hustling and grinding, I know. And I know the restaurant business is quite that. And online, I'm sure you experience different, right? And a lot of us have had, I know I was there, the limiting belief that life is hard, that we must hustle and grind. As a realtor, I certainly did.
Yeah.
And I know now what Bob teaches about effortless ease, that it's not hustle and grind. It's about serving our people, serving our one world. The money comes as a byproduct. So step five is taking inspired and aligned action. And you want to take action every day. So to move you forward, part of it could be that if someone has disease, they can just see them, visualize themselves, seeing themselves in the perfect health. If someone has debt, not thinking of the debt, this is very easy to sit here and talk about. You're going to think of abundance. And if you're not able to think of abundance, you're going to think of anything that makes you feel good. Visualize, like print out your statements. Let's say it's all in red, in minus. Add zeros, put whatever makes you happy, and see that. Say thank you. Thank you is the biggest prayer we can say to the Creator, to God, because when do we normally say thank you? We say thank you when we receive a gift from someone or a compliment. Yet most of us are begging, God, please don't do this. God, don't. No, God gave us dominion to think. And we can say thank you as if it is done. And the subconscious doesn't know the difference. It will go to work for us. And this is the magical mind that God has created. It's not my creation. I'd like to take credit for all of it, and I can't, I know, for any of it.
Yeah,
and
you have, and obviously you have to, I'd like to add on it. So doing everything, you have to take the action. Otherwise, like obviously nothing gonna happen. If you have a debt, you have to have a plan, strategies in order to do that. Like you need to reduce your spending. How are you doing? If you're overspending, over budgeting. So all needs to be taken care of. Just like a manifestation, people take it in the wrong way, just thinking about positive things going to happen and just you do nothing, like that doesn't happen. A lot of manifestation books talks about it. You just need to visualize it and things gonna happen to you. But that is really, really bad direction. And because it's just like winning a lottery, like you don't do anything and just hoping for something. If you have a disease, and disease is not gonna go away without like you not trying something. You have to go through medication route or like a natural way or like changing your lifestyle, the way you're doing, probably exercise. And you have to do things with like help you out, but so then they have to be really, really patient with that. So just because you manifest it doesn't mean like within a month or two is you're gonna see the results. Probably 5 years, probably 10 years. You're doing everything best. End of the day, the results is not in your hand. And in our religious, in the Islamic way, even though Bible in Christianity as well, even says like don't worry about the results. The results is not in your control. You can have the expectation
Amen.
about everything, but end of the
Amen.
day is in the God hand. Like is he gonna give you or not gonna give you? Because if you're a believer, you're probably gonna get an end life, after life. Like if you believe in heaven or hell, it depends like where you are. It's religious perspective since we are bringing God into it. So that's completely different way you have to look at it, because when you have the outcome oriented, like yeah, I need to get that, then expectation is too high, and when it doesn't go through like as you expected, you're gonna stop believing, like manifesting or thinking positive about any situation, because now
Yeah.
you're going for a different route. And I struggled with that at the beginning. uh the understanding wasn't there like a completely, and I have a big
Yes.
goals, big dreams, and every year I do that. Like if I don't achieve it, I was just feel like a failure, right? And right now I have a bigger dreams. I do 10 times, 20 times the bigger dreams. But at the same time,
Oh,
if I don't get it, even though 1%, I'm just happy with it. It's like the God planned it for me, and my plan was something, and I'm going for like a different direction, and he probably took me in the right direction, and he didn't give me that because he have a bigger picture. And after like a year or two, I see that yeah, the thing I wanted, it didn't happen to me. There is a bigger cause. And since I mentioned like before I starting a podcast, I cannot travel with my health issues and my son and everything.
yes.
That was like a
Yes.
great blessing, because that was my plan to travel around the world. But being at home, being like spending time with the bond I have created with my wife, my bond I created with my children,
Oh,
connection with the God and myself, the way I used to look at before is like, am I like to promote it. I'm a seven-figure earner, eight-figure earner. I want to be this. I want to be a famous person. How people think about me, how people are commenting me on podcasts, on my YouTube or social media. I used to care about that. Right now, I
yeah.
don't care about at all, about
Good
0%.
thoughts.
Yeah, just like my podcast was ranked top 10 podcasts in Canada and UK like last three,
Good.
4 months. And my wife's telling me like how great it's going. And my
Yeah.
team is like congratulating me. I was like, I don't care. It's just number, and someone's else gonna be top 10 after a month or two or a year, and I'm gonna go down.
Well,
Who cares about that? My success came from like doing what I enjoy every single day.
the impact.
And
Yes.
yeah, and the process, and more
Oh,
about the process rather than, but when you have the expectation or attachment to like a money or fame or reputation or numbers, you are fearful all the time, like when that thing's gonna go, when someone's gonna come and take your place. And when it comes down to money, there is always someone is a bigger fish. You are in Dubai, and you can see that, right? One
yeah.
Ferrari goes, then Bugatti comes in, then next Bugatti comes in, then the jet owner comes in, and then the yacht owner comes in, and the never ending, then the sheikh comes in, and he's like, I own the whole Dubai, right? And then
Yes.
you see like there is never ending the circle. So what's the point of me competing against that? Just be who I am and have my balance, and know like what's my limitation and also the expectation. Like things can go wrong even though I'm a positive about it. And be positive, like whatever happened to you, feel like a negative the moment, like there is a positive into it. But in the right moment, you're probably not going to see that any positive. You have to look back after 6 months, sometime 5 years, sometime 10 years.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
the things happened to me 5 years ago, and that time I thought like this is a bad thing, but no, it turned out to
Yeah.
be a good one. So for an example, I lost both of my parents when I was 13 years old. That time was like completely heartbreaking. I felt lost. I was suicidal and everything like that. After like 5, 6 years and looking back, I was like, whatever happened is good for my parents, because my dad had stage 4 cancer. He was seriously pain. So he passed away. My
Mhm.
mom couldn't live without my dad because they had really good relationship with them. So my mom died with a heart
Oh,
broken. She had a heart attack because like she stopped eating, drinking, and everything like that because of my dad passed away. She died within 3 months of he passing. So obviously, if she was alive, she wouldn't be the mom we wanted. And because she's always going to be and lost in her own thoughts of my thinking about my dad and everything like that. So that time I didn't understand that. After 5 years, I realized. Now, the more time is going, more understanding I have. And I'm realizing whatever happens in every situation is just there is a lesson and there is learning, and it shaped me the way the person I am. So you have to look at that in the long run, and sometimes you have to be patient to find those answers. In a current moment, you're probably not going to see that and see everything is bad, or recession is bad, or COVID is bad. COVID brought a lot of people close. COVID changed a lot of
yes.
people businesses, and
Yes, of
COVID gave us
course.
like a lot of people a way to create a dream life, dream job because they never
Yes,
thought about it. They've been forced to do that because they was
yes,
so comfortable with the current job they had, and the
yes.
COVID they got fired from their job or got furloughed or like they get a redundancy amount of money and they can start a TikTok shop or like being the influencer, the coach they wanted to be, and everyone got their own ways to doing that. So I just wanted to add that to Susan to you. Yeah.
I love it. First of all, thank you for sharing it. I'm so sorry to hear this at the same time. May they rest in peace. I'm sure they're beyond proud of you. I believe we're limitless souls. We're never really dead. They know
Yeah.
what you're up to and great stuff. And I'm so proud of you to say that you have no, I'm not surprised and big congrats that you went to top 10. The reason is because we don't have attachment, because then at the beginning for all of us it's about the ego. For me now, it's not, my vision is to touch all the billions,
Yeah.
right? And it's about, I used to care about, I don't anymore. So thank you for, we're on this, it's like, and it starts happening more the minute we're not attached to the labels that is just in the 3D. And I
Mm.
love what you said there about the law of attraction. In the word attraction, there's action. I know
Yeah.
we must,
Yeah.
if we don't take action, like God gave us dominion to think that we must move. And I love how you said that you saw it in hindsight. And Steve Jobs always says we can only connect the dots looking backward.
Yeah.
And kudos, that shows your deep spiritual work, right? In that, yeah, there's no attachment to the outcome. We expect the best and we do our best. And that is our job as human beings, to unleash. We are all
Yeah.
Michelangelo's Davids. We're not becoming anyone new, by the way. In our DNA, we're born perfect. In our ways of being, only God is perfect. We're not perfect. We're working to remove the conditioning from the subconscious, if you will, just like Michelangelo chipped away at David,
Mm.
to unleash that. We're never going to be that. We're going to pass away before that. But every day, that's our job. It's our duty, and it's our responsibility to God and to ourselves and to our communities to serve. Our
Yeah.
job is to serve our impact. And if we don't become our best selves, we're going to be in victim consciousness like most are. And I love what you said there about COVID, although it was sad for, I would say, all of us, 99.999% of us. So I'm accurate because I met a couple of people who said it was great. I can't imagine how it was great. But of course, everything is perspective. And it actually woke people up. It woke, other than everything you said,
Yeah.
which is part of the awakening, actually, the consciousness of our planet Earth has been raised, which is my life's work, to raise the consciousness of our planet, one precious soul at a time, for us to be awake, to know who we truly are, and that there's royal blood literally coursing through each one of us, whether you're in $1 million in debt or you drive the Bugatti or you own the country, doesn't matter. We're all one and we're all
Yeah.
God's children, and we all get to think and take action accordingly. And it all starts with, what is it that we want?
Yeah.
Does that resonate?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. So we are nearly
Thank you.
coming to the end of this podcast, Susan. I have one last question for you
Already.
before we wrap up here. If you want to give like
Oh,
one advice to your listeners today, they can take in and the creating the dream life they want, what will be your advice to them if you want to simplify it with one?
so I don't give advice, I give coaching, if that's okay. And this sounds self-serving. I'm not saying to sign up with me. Find a coach. That's the one thing that transformed my life. Of course, I offer a bunch of free stuff if anyone resonates. Find someone who resonates with you. Do the inner work. The inner work is the only way through. The only way is through. People think we don't get over anything. They say time heals all wounds. Time doesn't heal
Yeah.
anything. It's the awareness that heals. And
Yeah.
the only difference between each one of us, I know, is awareness. That's all it is. No one is better. So the
Mm.
person who owns the country, the person who's arriving as an immigrant, and the person who's the tourist in the five-star resort, the only difference between each one of them is awareness. And
Yeah.
someone has a high awareness, so they own it. The other person is cleaning the bathrooms, not because they're any less, it's because their conscious awareness is less. So work on your awareness every single day. You'll be eternally grateful. Most importantly, that's the only thing we can truly take with us. We can't take the millions, we can't take the billions, we can't take the trillions. We can only take who we've become, and that is our duty to the Creator, to our mankind, and to ourselves, to impact our one world.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that,
Thank
Susan. So I
you.
we come to near the end of this podcast. So if anyone wants to learn more about yourself or your business, where's the best place to find you?
Oh, great question. Thank you for that. Supercharged with Susan is my IG handle. superchargewithsusan.com is my website. Susan is with a Z, Z in the States, Suzan. And I do a bunch of free stuff. So if anyone resonates with what I'm saying, I'd be delighted to be of any service.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much for your time. I really wish you very best of luck with everything you do, and thank you so much for your time.
My joy, thank you so much for having me and for making all this difference to our one world. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, that was my pleasure. Thank you. So that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode with Susan. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. If anyone wants to learn more about her, you can visit her website and also social media platform. I'm going to put all links on the description for you to find her. Until then, talk to you next episode. Take care.